almost half of the weight loss is not body fat. You don't want to be starving yourself. The jabs basically work in the same way as a starvation diet. If you stop taking the jabs, you'll just go back to how you were before. Weight loss jabs can't make you fitter. The real transformation is actually what happens inside. Hello, and welcome to the Trinity Fit Over 40 podcast with me, Rob Burkhead. I am one of the co-founders of Trinity Transformation and creators of the Fit Over 40 method. And together with our world-class coaching team, we've helped more than 7,000 women over 40 to fit back into their favorite clothes over the past decade. And for more information about what we do, go to www.fit40info.com. So in today's episode, I'm going to discuss why weight loss jabs aren't the answer for some people and when they are also appropriate. So I don't know about you listening, but I am hearing more and more from women considering taking weight loss jabs these days. And maybe you're in the same boat and you're considering taking them too, or maybe you're even taking them already. And a lot of these people who are considering it, they've tried all the regular diets. But a lot of the time, the ones I'm hearing from are finding nothing is really working, at least long term. They can't keep the weight off. They're constantly battling with their weight. They're constantly having to think about food. It is quite exhausting. And they feel like they're running out of options, especially if they're women around menopause who think it's all part of the aging process. And it might be the only solution to that middle-age spread, that menopause weight gain. If you're listening to this, you're probably, like a lot of the people I've spoken to, on the fence about it. You can see that it does look like you can lose weight quite easily, but you're still not sure for some reason. So today we're going to take an objective look based on all the latest information and science out there, as well as my understanding around this industry from over 10 years experience, having coached over 7,000 women to lose weight, tone up, fit back into all their favorite clothes without weight loss jabs. Because I think they're right for some people. And for a lot of people, they are not the answer. And one really sad outcome at the moment that I've heard is from workers in the NHS, that the NHS can't actually get the drugs because they're all sold out because people are buying them to lose weight. And a lot of the time people are buying them who actually don't need to use them. They're just an easier route than eating better, improving your habits, exercise, or they're people who are already slim who want to get even slimmer. And then there's the people with diabetes who are morbidly obese, who really are struggling, who can't get them now. So that's a really sad side effect of this booming industry, is a lot of private sales are taking the drugs away from people who really, really need them as well. But beside all of that, I'm going to try and be as unbiased as I can, but I am clearly got a bit of a bias. So we obviously coach people through lifestyle changes to be fit and healthy for the rest of their lives. They don't need diets. They don't need any extreme approaches. They can stay fit and healthy effortlessly. But to get there, there is effort. It takes a while and it's hard. And I think this is the first point I want to make is, for me, the real transformation, and we see this in our most successful clients, the real transformation is actually what happens inside. When you go through the process of losing weight and getting fit and getting strong and getting healthy, which takes time and effort, doing it the natural way without the weight loss jabs. And I can relate to this because this was the journey I went through. So I was not overweight. I was actually underweight. And the reason I got into fitness was because as a teenager, I kept getting the feedback from girls that I was interested in that I was too skinny. And that really hurt someone who already had very little self-confidence. That really, really cut to the core until I saw the solution for me, I felt, was to go to the gym and work on myself physically. And interestingly, through that journey, so it took a few years and I went from, I don't know the weight in stone, it's probably around 10 stone to about 12 stone, but through building muscle, I was actually leaner at the end of it, doing that all naturally through eating well, learning how to eat to fuel my body, learning how to exercise and train. But weirdly, I still didn't feel that confident after doing that at all. And it was only through other things I did in terms of exercise, and I then went on to do with my newfound, I did have more confidence, but I just didn't fix all my issues, is what I'm trying to say here. That's what really changed my life. Because on the back of doing that, I realized, okay, I can influence some aspects of my life. And I think a lot of the time people can feel trapped. They're trapped in their job. They can feel like, that I'm now many years into this career path. I can't really change without massively sacrificing my income. I've got all this knowledge. I've got a family to support. I had a son 3 months ago. You can't change that. And I love him to bits. But, if you've got multiple children and you've been bringing them up for years on top of career, there's a lot of pressure. And you're down this path and it can feel like you can't really change those decisions. You've made those big decisions and then you can kind of feel like you're stuck. And what a lot of clients find when they change with us, and what I found through years of, struggle to a degree, or, of pushing myself in the gym, going to the gym when I didn't feel like it, eating that meal, saying no to that food when I still kind of wanted it to a degree. I didn't miss out on everything. That's not what we promote. But, practicing that mental strength, that mental willpower, making that mental muscle stronger, I was then empowered to do other things and to change the course of the rest of my life. And that's what we see with our clients who go through this as well. And I'm not sure people will get that from a weight loss drug, because it's a little bit like using a cheat code on a computer game. I remember I don't play computer games these days, but as a teenager, I played a lot of computer games. And a lot of the time you would either get these magazines, or it was the early days of the internet, so you could look up the cheat codes on the internet and you'd type the cheat code in, or you'd do the button combination and you'd get whatever the cheat code gave you, unlimited lives, or a lot of the time it was unlimited money on these games. And what would happen is it would be really fun initially. So I remember playing The Sims. If you remember The Sims, you have these little characters and you build a house, and then you can have a family and you go to work and you do this. Over time, you can afford to buy more stuff for your house and you can move house. And it's funny because you're just living life. But as a teenager, that's really, really fun. I found it fun anyway. Love designing the houses as well. So you do all of this and then you find the cheat code, you type it in, I think it was Rosebud, and you get £1 million or whatever it would give you. And then you can just build everything you want to. And initially that's really fun. And it's a bit like what I'm seeing in the weight loss drug world. People who've struggled to lose weight for a long time have finally, lost quite a lot. And they're now able to buy the clothes they want. And they're really excited by that. But what happened on the computer game was it very quickly became boring and hollow, because you had everything you kind of thought you wanted. And then you realized, actually, you've kind of defeated the point of the whole thing. Because the point of the game is playing the game. The point of the game is doing the challenges, getting better at the skills on the game, building up slowly, just like in life. It's the same with lottery winners and people like that. They actually often end up more depressed when you look at such studies after they've kind of had their blowout, they've won it, they've bought all the things they thought they wanted, then they realize they're still the same person. They haven't changed as a person because they didn't earn that money. They didn't go through learning to be better in their career or their business or skills of investing and saving and patience. They just got the result very quickly. And that's kind of what's happening with these weight loss jabs. So people are getting the result they thought they wanted, but they're not any different inside. They still don't have the confidence. They still haven't built any self-belief. They haven't developed that resilience, which comes through hard work. And if you've strived in your career, like a lot of our clients have done, they've become very successful. A big part of that confidence you get in your career is because you have fought, especially for a lot of the females we work with, against the male competition and the male environment that kind of keeps a lot of women suppressed, at least in that generation. It does look like it's changing, interestingly. Young male earners are much lower than female earners now, up to 24, I believe. Very interesting the way things are changing. But for years and years, the clients we work with had to kind of put themselves out there and really, really strive and do more than all the male counterparts to just get any recognition. And I hear this from clients a lot. And it's the same thing with the fitness journey. If you just get the result like the cheat code on the computer game, it's going to be fun for a little bit. And then what? And for me, going from this 10 stone, skinny, unconfident guy to building the muscle to getting stronger, which was actually the thing, physically stronger that empowered me much more, then started to make me realize I can change my body from this thing that I wasn't very happy with, something I'm much more happy with. Yes, my confidence is still not where I want it to be, and that's a lifelong journey. I think, with that, I'm talking about in the past now, I'm a lot more confident now after years of this, but it made me realize I could then change some other parts of my life. Maybe I can not go down the engineering path that I was on. I was doing a master's in engineering at Bath University that I was okay at and enjoyed a little bit, but I didn't love it. And I'd done a placement year at McLaren. I'd seen what it was like. I'd then also done a summer placement in investment banking. I thought, that's also not what I want to do. And I realized fitness is my passion, hence why we're here. And I'd started a blog with Ben and it was going okay, but it was no business. We didn't have any money coming in from it. But it made me have this self-belief that maybe if I can do that with my body and I can do those hard sessions and I can make those more difficult choices and I can be consistent and I can be resilient, I could potentially set up a business. And that was over 10 years ago now. And in that time, we've now helped 7,000 people. We've got a team of 15 people. Their livelihoods are supported by this business too. And that's something I would have never imagined I could do when I was that skinny teenager with no confidence, no self-belief, no resilience. And that's something I don't think people are going to get from injecting themselves once a week and losing weight. And that's something I see in almost every success story we get with a client. When they share their testimonial, I've got one to share at the end. They always say it's more than weight loss. They say, actually, the biggest change is what's happened mentally, what's happened inside. what's happened physically as well, and what they're able to do physically, which brings me kind of onto my next point, which is weight loss jabs can't make you fitter. They can make you lighter, but actually in a lot of ways they make people less fit, especially if you don't do the right things to balance it. And again, I'm going to try and be unbiased here. So I'm going to give you the cheat codes of what you need to do alongside it if you want to make sure this doesn't happen to a degree. But what the latest trials are showing, so the step 1 trial is a big trial of semaglutide, so one of the weight loss drugs, but they're all similar in terms of this effect. It showed that participants lost about 39 to 40% of their muscle mass. Of the weight loss was muscle, or it was lean body mass. This is everything other than fat. So almost half of the weight loss is not body fat. That's the wobbly thing. That's the thing that can be unhealthy, that can be around your organs in your midsection and lead to more heart disease and stroke risk and diabetes and a lot of things like that. So that is something you want to lose, but more than half of that is not that. It's muscle and bone. And those are the things that age you most rapidly, is a loss of muscle, which will lead to, it's called sarcopenia, age-related loss of muscle. And this isn't age-related, this is accelerated because it makes you undereat so much. The jabs basically work in the same way as a starvation diet. If you're doing 500 calories a day, 800 calories a day, your body can't actually survive on that and thrive on that. So you're going to end up, your body burns the muscle for energy, and then you end up not only a lot less toned. So the way I always describe this is kind of resembling like a balloon a week after a kid's party. If you've left it blown up, it goes all shriveled up, and squidgy. That's what a lack of muscle will do in terms of looks. It'll give you those bingo wings and things like that. But what it'll also do is make it much harder to do day-to-day stuff, to balance, to not roll your ankle, to climb the stairs without getting out of breath, to pick up your grandkids if you've got grandkids. And I heard a really sad story from a client who said she was watching this video of a lady around 60 who had been taking these weight loss drugs, and she'd lost loads of weight. But because a lot of it's from muscle, this lady was unable to carry a grandchild anymore. She was staggering around and she couldn't climb the stairs without having to hold on. And it's a really sad outcome that no one's really talking about, because for years and years and years, the dieting industry has just celebrated if the number on the scales goes down, and a lot of the weight loss clubs are responsible for this, if the number on the scales go down, that's always good. It's not the case. The number on the scales is everything in your body. It's water, which a lot of the time it can be that people lose. It's muscle, it's bone, it's organ weight. And of course, it is also body fat, but you don't know what that distribution is. And those ones that try and predict your body fat numbers are not accurate at home. You really need to do that in a clinical setting to measure that accurately. But you can tell if you are not getting fitter and stronger if you're struggling to do day-to-day activities. And you'll naturally lose muscle as you get older if you don't do the right things as well. So this is like compounding aging and compounding menopausal changes, because you'll also lose more muscle as you go through menopausal changes if you don't do the right things. So to counteract that, you need to be strength training, lifting heavy weights for low repetitions, 5 to 15 reps, but a lot of the time you want to be sub 10 repetitions. So not those rubbish gym classes, which are generic and can work for people in their 20s and 30s, but are no good as you get older. You want to be lifting heavy weights for low repetitions, under control, with decent amount of rest between them. And you also need to be eating enough, which is hard on the weight loss drugs. You don't want to be starving yourself, because the first thing that goes is your muscle and your bone. So you want to be eating enough calories that you're not tapping into that muscle. There's this sweet spot that's just a little bit less than your body needs if you want to lose weight, just a little bit less, not massively less, which is when you start to just lose everything and a lot of it's not fat.
Imagine living in a home that you've cherished for years.
You've done your best to keep it in good condition,
But no matter how much you clean, paint, or repair,
the problems keep piling up.
the cracks are showing, the roof is leaking, and it feels like everything is getting worse despite your best efforts.
For many women, losing weight around menopause feels just like that,
You've tried diets, workouts, and advice,
but the results don't come and the frustration keeps growing.
that's where our Fit Over 40 private coaching program comes in.
Think of us as your expert renovation team.
We know exactly how to fix the root issues, rebuild your confidence, and create lasting results, just like restoring a home to its best condition.
If you're ready to finally see results that last, click the link in the description below now. Let us help you restore the body and the life you deserve. So you want to be eating enough. Then the last thing you want to do is eat enough protein as well. We go on about it a lot on here, I know, but protein it's like the bricks. If you're building a house, it's like the bricks. If you don't have the bricks, you can't build a house. If your house is falling down and you need to rebuild it, you don't have the raw building materials, you can't rebuild it. Doesn't matter how many workmen you have. So you need the bricks, and that's what the protein is. It won't make you big and bulky, it'll just make you firm and toned And ironically, a lot of the benefits of eating enough protein are the same as the weight loss drugs. Most people we work with are eating half or less than the amount of protein they need to thrive. And that requirement increases with age. It's about 1.5 times what you needed in your 20s, in your 40s, and that keeps getting higher. And if you eat more protein, you will slow down digestion, stomach emptying, which is one of the main ways the GLP-1 agonists work, the kind of active ingredient in the weight loss jabs. So if you just eat enough protein, you get a lot of the same benefits. It'll keep you fuller for longer. It'll curb cravings, and you'll lose weight anyway. What else? Well, other things that the jabs are not going to do on a fitness level is help with things like mobility. So that is your ability to, bend down and pick something up off the floor without hurting yourself. Take the plug out the bath without injuring your back. Put your arm behind your back to under your bra strap. Mobility is about having the strength and the flexibility. A lot of people don't realize this. They think it's just strict flexibility, but it's strength as well. If you don't have the strength to do those things, that's when you get injured. So your body can't support itself safely. So it triggers that kind of spasm, that pain, and says, no, we need to stop doing this because I can't safely support this anymore. That generally comes from years and years of people not strength training, not eating enough protein, and then gradually losing muscle. And the jabs are just going to accelerate that muscle loss. So you're going to have even more injuries, more problems if you're not strength training with it. They also won't improve your fitness. And this is another thing that gives people so much joy. We have clients who have never been fit and active. A lot of our clients are from that generation where PE teachers would shame people, it's awful, for not being that naturally sporty child. And I wasn't either. A lot of people think, you were probably sporty. I was not a sporty child at school. I was somewhere in the middle. I wasn't like the really unsporty ones. But a lot of our clients are those people who were never into it, always tried to get out of PE, hated PE, and then hated exercise their whole life because of that. And they're now finding the joy in being able to do active things, to be able to go on hikes with friends, to be able to go on active holidays, to be able to join in with their kids or grandkids, doing whatever activity it may be. And they are loving it. And just jabbing yourself once a week won't give you that joy. It won't give you the strength to be able to do it. It won't give you the cardiovascular fitness to be able to keep up either. Again, totally unbiased, having less weight will potentially make it easier, but only if you also do the right things to maintain the muscle. So at the bare minimum, if you are going to take these things, make sure you also make the dietary changes to eat more protein and the exercise changes to regularly be doing at least 3 strength training sessions a week. Otherwise, you are going to age rapidly and you're going to miss out on more, not less, by doing these things. A few other things they won't help with are menopause symptoms. So if you are getting a lot of menopause symptoms like hot flushes, like joint aches and pains, sure, having a bit less weight might help a bit with the joints, but a lot of the time it's from inflammation from poor food and diet choices. And what some people will do, not everyone, but some people will do if they're taking these jabs, is continue to make poor food and lifestyle choices. They're just doing less of them because that's what they effectively do. So you don't have such strong cravings, you have a bit less chocolate, or you don't eat the meals, but you still drink the alcohol. That's a really unhealthy outcome that can happen for people is, they just stop eating, which means everything withers away in terms of strength and fitness and health. But the number on the scale is low. So that's great, right? Obviously not. And if you're drinking every night, that's going to cause night sweats, it's going to cause hot flushes, it's going to be broken sleeps, you still have rubbish energy. So it can still cause a lot of problems. And if you don't know how to make better food choices, if you don't know how to fuel your body right, you are still going to feel rubbish. You're going to have low energy levels, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be having maybe poor skin, poor nails, poor hair. I've heard of people hair falling out doing these. My friend who I go mountain biking with every week, his wife's in her 50s, but they're both in their 50s. And he said his wife's friend was taking the drugs and she looks amazing because she's in these smaller clothes. He obviously hasn't seen her without the clothes on, so he doesn't know if she's more toned or not. I would suspect not. She's a bit younger. She's in her 40s, but she said she really needs to lose a bit more weight for a holiday. So what did she do? She did a couple more jabs than she was supposed to that week, and her hair started falling out. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. But again, unfortunately, women have had this pressure for so many years to have a lower number on the scales means better, that people are doing almost anything and then going beyond the doses and are buying up all the NHS supplies to try and meet that pressure that's been put on them. And it's obviously a really sad state of affairs, but it's where we're at the moment. So again, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. But generally, if you want to improve menopause symptoms, you can do so much with lifestyle improvements. And that's a big part of our coaching that we do with our clients. We work on improving sleep through different choices, through changing work patterns, through changing how they use their phone in the evening. There's so many little intricate details to lifestyle transformation that we make that are nothing directly to do with health and fitness or food choices, but that dramatically change their life. We might do some food related things as well, like reducing alcohol intake, coming up with a better reason not to drink in the week, managing stress better so they don't need to turn to the food and chocolate. We do so many things like that, reducing caffeine intake in the afternoon, but finding ways for them to still have loads of joy around it. And doing it that way, I think, sets a much better example, which is kind of my next point, also to anyone around you. If you do still have, a lot of our clients' children are grown up, if you do still have children, especially teenagers, especially teenage girls who are really prone to seeing what's going on and copying, I don't know about you, but I don't think it's probably going to be inspiring them in the way I'd want to if my wife was just doing a weight loss jab every week. And that's how they saw it. And there's a lot of teenagers who are being caught being wrongly prescribed for these weight loss jabs because people just apply online, they fake some details, say their BMI is overweight, and they get given them. It's a bit of a cowboy market at the moment. There's not good checks on it. So you don't know what they're doing. I know that's very, if you saw Adolescence, the key lesson is from that famous, at the moment, Netflix documentaries, or not documentary, sorry, series, is parents, they never know what their children are doing. My parents didn't know what I was doing as a teenager, going out and drinking in the streets, things like that. But they will mirror what you do. All the people I knew who smoked at school, pretty much, their parents smoked. And their parents told them don't smoke, but what's that teaching them if they are smoking? They just copied anyway. The same thing's going to happen if you have healthy, if you're making healthy, inspiring lifestyle choices. We've got so many examples of clients who said their kids are proud of them. Even the younger children are noticing and picking up on it. And they are copying and following as well. And I'm not sure that's going to really happen if you're just doing a jab versus if you are living a healthy, active lifestyle, which will make things like mental health so much better as well as physical health. And that's another big thing this doesn't address. It's probably not going to help with the mental health side of things. Like I said earlier, my confidence improved a bit by losing weight, but I still had this big void of a lack of self-confidence, which was nothing to do with how I looked. I thought looking different would solve the issue. But it was a deeper rooted thing that I had to work on through a number of years of learning to believe in myself after having quite harsh parents who, would pick up on everything. For example, if I got a B, it was the end of the world in any test. If it wasn't an A, it wasn't good enough. And there was a lot of things like this that made me not feel good enough. And it took a long time to kind of rebuild myself through that. And that's something we work on with our clients, is the mental side of things and having them believe in themselves and focus on the positive things and the wins. And that transforms every aspect of life. They go further in their careers. They take leaps they never thought they were going to make. They make changes they never thought they were going to make. We've had lots of clients leave partners that they haven't liked for years, but they weren't feeling confident enough to make that change. Or people who've been single for years finally find someone and start a new life with them. And they're so happy for it because they finally worked on that inner voice that was constantly knocking them down, that devil on the shoulder that was saying, you're not good enough, you can't do it. And again, just jabbing yourself once a week isn't going to work on that. And yes, some of them say they come with support, but they are generally a generic chatbot, or they are very untrained person, or even a medical person. Some of the medical people out there, unfortunately, are not the best coaches. They're very good at quoting medical data to someone, but that doesn't make you change on a deeper level. It doesn't deal with the underlying issues, the underlying lack of self-belief, lack of resilience, lack of self-worth, the beating yourself up. And that's what we really spend most of our time working on. As well as the last thing, which is improving long-term habits. Everything we try and do is to think 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, we want you to still be living this way. And that's why we make changes gradually that aren't overly restrictive, that aren't miserable, because no one can keep that up long-term. And the weight loss jab companies themselves, the founders say, if you stop taking the jabs, you'll just go back to how you were before. You will just reverse everything and the weight will come back on. So you've got to buy them for the rest of your life, which we've done calculations before. It's 60 to 100,000 pounds if you're about age 50. So it's a lot of money. And if you ever stop, if you want to stop jabbing yourself every week, if you don't think that's for you, then you're going to go back. So it's probably just going to be the next fad. And I think a lot of people are going to get sick of it. What we do is in 1 year, transform the person from the inside out. So they are that person who's fit and healthy effortlessly. And those people exist everywhere. There's loads of those people. You will have those friends who can do that. They're never going to consider the weight loss jabs. They're never going to consider the next crash diet because they don't need to, because they know how to live in a healthy way. And they have ingrained those habits, which takes about a year. So a little bit of time, but it's like a few % of the cost of doing weight loss jabs for the rest of your life. And that's just the financial cost, let alone the cost on everything else. And potentially, there are health risks, there's cancer risks and things like that I'm not going to get into today. But they are generally not going to change habits with food, with alcohol, with exercise. And those are the things that are going to mean in 10, 20 years, you're either that incredibly fit, inspirational 70, 80-year-old, which is what I want to be, I strive to be. I heard of one recently who, actually I came across one recently. I went go-karting with a friend I'm quite competitive. I'm into cars. I'm a reasonably good go-karter, but we clearly went on a very competitive day, and we went to this very fast track in Sandown near London, and this old bloke turned up. He's turned up in a Maserati, lovely car. But I thought, he's about 75. We're going to have him. It's 20 people on the grid. We both fancied ourselves. We've done a bit of competitive karting at university. Guess what? Him and 3 other guys most of them were over 50, I would say, wiped the floor with us. I think I came 4th or 5th. And then my friend came tiny bit further back as well. And that is the kind of person I kind of want to be like. I want to be that person who's surprising people with what they can do in their 70s, maybe even in their 80s. I want to be like my grandma who can touch the floor with her hands flat on the floor at 92. And that comes from the exercise habits, the daily habits, the way you treat yourself, the way you value exercise and eating well. And you're going to get none of that change by just jabbing yourself unless you plan to do that for the rest of your life. And you're still not going to get that change, but you might keep the weight off, but you're also going to probably have 0 muscle by that point and be in a very, very bad place. So I would think long term, where's this going? People are not very good at this, so I get it's difficult, but I'll share just one testimonial to share what kind of things can happen if you do it a natural way. And you just dedicate, a year of your life to changing the rest of your life, which is what we're all about. So this is from Sarah from Sussex. And she said, before I started, my weight and dress size had gradually been creeping up for the past 10 years. And I'd effectively stopped doing regular exercise as I felt that every time I tried something new, like running or aerobics, I would make a little progress and then stop due to injury or not seeing results as quick as I'd like to or had done in my younger years. On top of this, I'd started the menopause, of which I knew little about, was feeling overwhelmed, depressed, and lethargic, with aching joints and indigestion issues. I'd also got into a daily routine with drinking after work, feeling that I deserved it after a stressful day, convincing myself that it helped me to relax, although at the back of my mind, I knew I needed to cut down as it wasn't agreeing with me so much anymore. Before I started Trinity, I was 11 stone and my measurements were 40-inch bust, 33.5-inch waist, 41-inch hips, and 23-inch thighs, and 12-inch biceps, total 150 inches. I felt awful about how I'd let myself go, but also convinced myself it was part of the aging process and to expect more decline in health the older I got. I'm now 10 kilos lighter and 3 dress sizes down, gone from a size 16 to a size 10. I'm much stronger and have lost a total of 17 inches, and I feel amazing in capitals. Overall, I feel less stressed, more confident and happy, and I'm loving my slim physique. I've cut down significantly on alcohol, opting for alcohol-free most nights and limiting myself when I do decide to have a drink. I'm now able to enjoy most things, and I don't feel deprived or hungry, and would go as far as saying my outlook on life has totally changed. Trinity has been a game changer for me, with positive results both mentally and physically. I now feel that I have the tool set to maintain my weight and stay fit for the rest of my life. Thank you, Trinity. You rock. So not only did Sarah lose 3 dress sizes in a completely healthy, natural way, without feeling deprived or hungry, as she said there, she's also feeling much stronger, which you can't get with the jabs, much happier in herself, and her outlook on life has totally changed. And again, that's not going to happen from that quick fix jab, that kind of computer game cheat code equivalent. This is through a year of learning how to work with a body around menopause, of making these changes, some hard work as well, but having a coach there throughout the whole thing to make it so much easier and to always support her through it. And if you are interested in finding out more about our Fit Over 40 private coaching that Sarah used and thousands of other women have used, just head over to www.fit40info.com and you can find all the details on that page. So that wraps up for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful. Tried to keep it as balanced as possible, but wanted to highlight a few different things that people are not talking about when it comes to considering these weight loss jabs. I'd love to help you, love to work with you. So if you are someone who thinks that isn't for me, I'd like to do it in a way that is natural, then it's going to impact me in so many more ways than just weight. It's going to transform my outlook on life and mean I can be that fit and healthy person for the rest of my life, for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Then just head to www.fit40info.com. You can find out all the details there. You can have a no obligation call with our team if you are interested in seeing what it's all about. And then you can either decide if it's for you or not. So again, thank you for joining me. We'll catch you next week for another episode. I will see you then. If you're fed up with trying everything and seeing no results,
watching your weight creeping up and struggling to fit into your clothes,
and you're looking for the fastest and easiest way to get your ideal weight
and never have to worry about your weight or health again,
you can save yourself years of trial and error by letting us take care of the hard work for you in our Fit Over 40 private coaching program.
Over the past decade, our world-class team have personally guided more than 7,000 women to take back control of their health and confidence, and more importantly, maintain those results for life.
If you're ready to finally get results at last and find out how we can help you do that too, click the link in the description below to get the full details now.